All right, everyone, welcome back to the Gingium YouTube channel. Obviously, the all-wheel drive Rally Miata is currently in paint, bodywork. It's getting all finished up. While we wait for that process to be finished, I decided that we're gonna take some time to open up all the awesome parts that we're gonna be installing for phase 3 of the build and answer some questions that you guys have on the build. So this is pretty much everything we're gonna be installing once we get the car back from paint. We have everything from brakes, clutch, steering wheel, upgraded turbo. We got all sorts of stuff. So I'd say let's just go ahead and start opening it. So let's just first, what do we start with? I think we'll go ahead start with, I think, the main attraction of the show, which is the turbo, because I mean that's pretty much that was a hopefully not a fragile part. So obviously up to now, the Rally Miata has been rocking a pretty much stock setup on the engine. It is a built motor, but you know, stock turbo, stock boost controller, pretty much everything is stock besides bolt-ons, you know, minor stuff. So the main show is right here. This is an upgraded turbocharger. This is a VF48. This is a turbocharger off of a brand new STI. It is slightly bigger than the current turbo. The current turbo we have now is just the stock WRX turbo. It's slightly bigger, it's newer, it's nicer, it's cleaner, and it will make more power. So the nice thing about this turbo is that it is 100% just bolt in. Everything is the same as the factory turbocharger. Cool thing about STIs and just Subarus in general, you know, same lines, same everything. This thing will bolt straight up, which is crazy because there's pretty much 20 years between the current turbo I have and this turbo. Maybe it's actually closer to 10, but there's a lot of years in between. Really cool things about these turbos is that they offer a lot of performance for a pretty good price. You're not paying $1,500 for a brand new, you know, dual ball bearing turbo. This thing is journal bearing, which, you know, isn't the greatest thing, but the goal with this turbo is to make roughly 350 wheel horsepower, and that will be pushing this thing to its max. But that's that should be plenty. I got that turbo for $200, so that goes to show how awesome of a deal that used turbos can be. Let's go ahead and open up some boost control stuff. So, you know, right now this is an internally wastegated turbo with a stock boost controller. So we are going to be switching things up to an external wastegate. The main benefit of an external wastegate, you get better boost control, and it sounds awesome. So this is a Tile 38mm wastegate. This thing looks so cool. And the noises these things make on Subarus specifically are just so awesome. Nice thing about this wastegate is that it comes with every single spring and all of the weld flanges. So this, you know, the way external wastegates work is you can swap out the spring to change the base boost, and then you can modify the base boost with a boost controller. So for instance, this is a softer spring, so this will open up at a lower PSI of boost, whereas, you know, these other ones are stiffer springs. But there are 7 springs in here, so that will probably allow us to run anything from 7 to like 30 PSI of base boost pressure. You know, obviously this is an internally wastegated turbo, so we'll have to, you know, weld the wastegate shut and stuff. It's definitely not necessary to run an external wastegate, and, you know, for the price, you're not getting that much of an improvement. But I didn't want to compromise on this build, and I love the sounds of these things. So that's why we went with that. So now, to control that external wastegate, we are going to be running a Grim Speed electronic 3-port boost controller. This plugs into the factory ECU, and it's, you know, all plug and play. Pretty much what this will do is it will allow for finer boost control. We'll be able to build boost sooner and hold it longer into the high RPM range. When you think about it, you don't imagine that a boost controller could give you a better spool, better top-end boost control, but boost holding, but it does. I don't really know the science behind it. We'd have to get Mike over here to talk about it or something, but cool. Yep. Now, to get rid of any boost pressure that is in the charge piping or the intercooler after the throttle body closes, we have a new blow-off valve. Now, the main reason why we're changing the blow-off valve is that the stock location blow-off valve on the intercooler does not fit the Miata hood. The other reason is that we want something that sounds cool and looks cool. So since we are running the engine on speed density, we are allowed to do a vent to atmosphere blow-off valve. Whereas if you're running a stock, you know, tune, that's all math, and it will run poorly if you vent your boost pressure to atmosphere. So this is a Tile blow-off valve, and yet again, it looks amazing. It's huge. It'll make really cool noises, hopefully. Yet again, includes all the weld flanges, which is awesome for the exact diameter pipe that we have. It's nice little V-band clamp there. Simple thing, it's just a blow-off valve, but it is pretty cool. That's all the boost-related stuff. Obviously, we already have an upgraded fuel system and an upgrading cooling system and all that kind of stuff. So now we are going to chassis things. And I guess this is a tuning thing. So this is an AM wideband, you know, pretty basic thing, but they are really cool. Having a wideband just allows you to monitor everything. The stock ECU actually has a wideband built into it, and with a cob access port, I'm able to look at AFRs, but it's not quite as exact as having a standalone wideband gauge and O2 sensor. Now that we've installed the Subaru engine in our Miata and made it less reliable, we have to install more things to make sure it's not running bad. All the haters on Instagram and everywhere else, the first thing that they hate about is that I made the car less reliable because I put a Subaru engine in it, I guess. So now we're getting to suspension upgrades. This is a bushing kit. We have, you know, a stock Miata suspension system out back, you know, stock geometry, stock control arms, and then we have a stock Subaru suspension system up front. So for the back, we have a bunch of new bushings. You know, the Rally Miata was beat up. You know, it survived through a couple 100,000 miles. Bushings are probably close to the end of their life, and we want this thing to feel good. So these are polyurethane bushings. I've actually never installed any upgrade bushings on any of my cars. These things are awesome. They have a little bit of squish to them, but they're going to be a lot less compliant than the stock rubber bushing. So this will improve, you know, turn-in and suspension feel. You're probably asking, oh, why are you, you know, bothering making your car handle better? It's going to be an off-road car. And we'll talk about that at the end of this video. It's not strictly going to be an off-road car. Those are the bushings for the Miata suspension out back. And this is the one bushing for the front lower control arms, the Subaru stuff. Obviously, since it's a McPherson strut, there's only one control arm, and there's only one bushing, and these are them. Oh wow, these are actually much softer than the Prothane. So these are Prothane, and then this is white line, but still stiffer than stock. So that will be awesome. That when we pull off all the suspension, we'll get everything powder coated, sandblasted, get the rust off everything, and just go through it all. I should mention that these Miata rear bushings were provided by Moss Miata, so huge thank you to them for providing parts for this build. Also, the AAM band, wideband, was provided by Moss Miata. This is a Clutch Masters FX400 clutch. Funnily enough, this is the same clutch we ran in the Rally Miata when it had a Miata engine. Same stage and same brand, not actually the same exact clutch. I really like that clutch. It was really grabby. As you saw on the announcement video when we launched the Subaru, destroyed the clutch. And we're gonna be making more power. And even though the chassis is gonna weigh less and put less stress on the clutch, we're gonna need a beefier clutch. There's no point in building this awesome car and then, oh, you can't launch it because it just destroys the clutch. I believe this is a 6-puck sprung clutch, so it is gonna be pretty aggressive, but it will still be streetable. I'll still be able to off-road with it pretty easily. And this clutch, ooh, it's white, and it looks pretty cool. This clutch was provided by Clutch Masters, so huge thank you to them for sponsoring the build. Comes with a new throwout bearing, which is good, because we kind of maybe destroyed ours a little bit even again. So this is pretty much the lightest flywheel that you can get for a WRX or, you know, an EJ engine. I believe it is a 9-pound flywheel, or maybe it was 10 pounds, but that will improve response, you know, revs, make it easier to, Smells like nice oil, because, you know, they oil these things and stuff to make sure they don't rust, although it is an aluminum flywheel, so it wouldn't rust. We can go on to stopping power now. We've got a set of rotors and a set of pads. Funny thing is, like, when I'm ordering all these parts, it's not like you're ordering parts for your WRX. It's not like you're ordering parts for your Miata. You have to order half the parts for your WRX, half the parts for your Miata, because half the car uses stock WRX stuff, half the car uses stock Miata stuff. So here we have Miata rear rotors and pads. We're using the stock size, but we are upgrading the pad compound. The reason why I didn't go with a big brake kit, you know, the front has been upgraded quite a bit in size, and more of the weight has been moved to the front, so it matters more about what the front brakes are. I think this, with the upgraded pads, will be more than enough braking power. So we can open these, you know, just baby Miata 1.6 liter rotors, so they are pretty small. Oh, there's only one.
Did you order two?
I don't know. I just assumed they came as pairs, but this is probably my fault because I was like, man, why are the Brembo rotors the cheapest? Like, that doesn't make sense, but I ordered them.
Yeah, they don't come in pairs.
It's probably because they don't come in pairs. So I don't have to get another one of those, but that was provided by Moss, so thank you, Moss, for the brake rotor. I'll have to get another one. Are there gonna be 2 pads in here? I hope so.
There's gonna be 4.
Yeah, you're right, there are gonna be 4. Those are, oh, actually, I think these are for the Subaru. Those feel pretty heavy. Yeah, these are lighter. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Look at how small brake pads are for a Miata, rear Miata. It's like probably about the size of your finger in terms of length and the width of 2 fingers. Whereas you take the pads from the front, much bigger. But this is even much bigger than stock, so that's why, you know, our braking system's getting quite a big upgrade. And then here we have EBC rotors for the front. This is definitely a pair because it's big and heavy. Pretty sure the cool thing about these is that they're coated, so you don't have to worry about them getting corroded at all, because essentially what happens is they're totally painted, and then after you drive them for a little bit, the pad contact will wear off the paint just where the pad actually contacts. Oh yeah, so look at that. That's cool. I wish more companies offered rotors like this, where
It's fat.
it's a fat rotor for one. Yeah, the WRX brakes are definitely pretty beefy, which is why, since we're getting rid of 1,000 pounds in what a WRX has, this will be more than enough. But everything's painted, so you know the paint will be worn off, but then all the other stuff has paint on it and it won't rust. So that's awesome. We have a Momo steering wheel. Now normally I just get a basic, you know, round, deep dish steering wheel. I love those kind of wheels. They're awesome. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. This is a rally car, more or less, is the Rally Miata. So I wanted to get a rally-inspired wheel, suede, cool buttons, all that kind of stuff. And of course, Momo makes the best things for that. Stock WRX steering wheel is a Momo steering wheel. So I thought it would be kind of cool if you had a Momo steering wheel. So here is that thing. I think this thing's so awesome. I'm excited to put this in the car. So it is a round steering wheel. It doesn't have a flat bottom. It's got the bolsters for your hands, so you know, right like that. And it's got 2 buttons, which have little horn signals on them. I think I'm gonna wire them for the blinkers, because we're gonna get rid of everything on the steering column, because race car. But this thing is so awesome. Pretty much as soon as we get the car back from paint, we'll tear it all down, pull the engine out, pull all the suspension out, we'll paint the suspension, put the new bushings in, put the new clutch on the engine, the new turbo. We have some heat protection stuff coming from Mishimoto, so we'll put all that kind of stuff on. And then we'll get it tuned, and it will be good to go. But that brings us to the second part of this video. I want to answer some questions that you guys seem to be having about the build. Not specific questions, like, you know, what color are we gonna paint it? What blah, 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 what wheels? You know, no specific questions, because there's so many of those, and they get repetitive. You'll find out. I want to talk about some of the overall questions you guys have about the all-wheel drive Rally Miata build. Firstly is the purpose of this car. Obviously, it's a weird Frankenstein thing. We call it the Rally Miata. It's a little bit too tall to do like super crazy rally cross, but then it's also too small and not tall enough to do like mudding. I don't really know necessarily what exactly we're going to be doing for the car, but we're going to be pretty much doing everything. I want to be able to do everything in this car, so we'll definitely be taking it to rallycross events. You know, we'll be trying our best to do as well as we can with rallycross, and we might even get specific suspension setups so we can swap, you know, oh, let's put the tall suspension on and put the mud tires on and go mudding. Oh, we want to go to a rallycross, let's put the tighter, lower suspension on and then go to a rallycross. But I also do want to do some grip stuff and some street driving stuff and some hooning. So I want to try to take it to like a drift event and try to do some donuts and that kind of stuff. I think that'd be really fun. We'll get some upgraded drivetrain components so we can do that in the future. I also want to try it at an autocross. Imagine how cool it would be to show up to a Miata specific autocross with a Miata that looks all tall and doesn't look like it's going to do very well. And then since it's all-wheel drive, it has a bunch of traction, and then hopefully I would just dominate everyone. And like that, I don't know, things like that would be so fun. Just surprising people, because no one expects it to be all-wheel drive. No one expects it to have power and have an EJ. So I saw a lot of questions asking about what I think the weight of the car will be once everything is finished. And the real answer is I don't really know. We've obviously added weight in some areas of the car, but we've also gotten rid of weight in some areas of the car. We've added at least 200 pounds of metal because, you know, we did the roll cage, we did the tube chassis, all of that. But we also got rid of some metal because we cut out the trunk and we cut the front end off with all the sheet metal. And, you know, we got rid of everything under the dash. We're going to do like a stripped interior, super lightweight seats. The Subaru engine itself, I believe, is lighter than the Miata engine because it's all aluminum, doesn't have an iron block. But then the drivetrain is heavier because it's all-wheel drive, and that extra set of axles up front. You know, bigger struts. The real answer is that I don't know exactly how much it will weigh, but I really am hoping that we can get it in the 2,300 pound range. A couple of you guys were also asking about the driving experience, which I can't really attest to quite yet, but the overall question is, does it feel like a Miata or does it feel like a Subaru? And I'm happy to say that in the small amount of driving we've done, it still feels like a Miata. It's got the, you know, pretty quick chassis feel. It feels like a stiff chassis. It's light. The thing about driving a Subaru and driving a Miata, the Miata feels tight and quick to respond, whereas the Subaru, even though it's not too heavy, it is a little sluggish. You know, it's delayed to turn in and stuff. So I'm happy to say that it still feels like a Miata, but obviously we haven't done much with it. One of the things that you guys have totally noticed and that you've been pointing out in pretty much every video are the headers. The headers sit very low and very far forward on the car. And if we're going to be doing off-roading or rallycross, we're going to be jumping it or going up big hills. We want a big approach angle. We're going to be abusing the car, and those things seem to be in the danger zone. You guys are wondering if I'm going to be building a skid plate or something for it. I just feel like it's going to be a shitty video. I don't know. It just kind of sucks. But whatever. The problem is that if we made a skid plate to protect these headers, that skid plate would be so far forward and so low, it would severely limit the approach angle of the car and the ground clearance. The thing is that since we got unequal length headers, because we wanted the Subaru Rumble, they have to make like a big loop. So that loop, in order to fit the engine and stuff, has to come down and loop and then go back up to the turbo. What we have to do is we have to get a new set of headers, which sucks, because then we're compromising the Subaru Rumble. So for now, we're not going to be making a skid plate, because, you know, if we made a skid plate, you know, the bottom of the car would be here, and then the bottom of the skid plate up front would be like so low. It would just look weird. So we're gonna run it for now because we're not gonna be doing anything super crazy right at first. And then when we want to start doing crazy things like jumps and whatnot, we'll just have to get a set of equal length headers. That will then obviously raise everything up. We'll be able to build a skid plate that is close to the subframe and close to the oil pan, doesn't waste any space. It won't affect our approach angle, won't affect our ground clearance. But I think that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I know it's something a little different. I know you guys just want to see the car, but it's gonna be, you know, we're taking our time to do things right. So I wanted to at least give you an update and show you the parts that we're gonna be putting on this thing once we're done and answer some of your questions. If you enjoyed the video, you can give it a like. If you didn't, you can give it a dislike. If you want to see the next video where the car is all body worked and ready for paint, you can check out Patreon and see that video right now, which is pretty cool. And in that video, I talk about the color combo. So you'll know the color combo if you go to that video. Thanks. Why are you giving me blue tape? If you're a patron, have a good week. If you're not, have a good weekend. I'll see you guys later.